he might have just stepped aside, grabbed a glass of water, and then come back. Or he might have actually gone through the curtain and back. I don't remember.
Must have been really exciting for the audience just to feel like, okay, now the show's over, but we still get to hang out with Jerry. And it's even more personal.
Yeah. And for me, it was only like, I had only seen a handful of live performances at the time. So for me, I'd seen like an open mic night once, which was bizarre because that was inspirational. Like Rich Jenny had a great observation. He said, one of the great things about terrible comedy is it gives other people the confidence to do comedy. Because you would go to see an open mic night and the people were so awful. You're like, oh, the expectations are not that high. Like I thought I had to be like Richard Pryor. Yeah. Like, and you know, it was so daunting. It was so the obstacle was so far away. It was so out of reach. But then you would see people that were amateurs that were clunky and terribly like, okay, at least I won't be as bad as that guy. And it gives you the confidence to like give it a try. Just fucking see what happens. And the feeling of going on stage for the very first time, I'll never forget, was so alien, so bizarre. Just to hear my voice in a microphone.
How many people were there?
Well, a bunch of my friends were there. Mm-hmm. So that was like 10% of the crowd, 4 or 5 of my friends, maybe 50 people. But there was a guy named George McDonald, and he would have this thing called Comedy Hell. And Comedy Hell was open mic night. And he was a professional, so he would joke around about how this is comedy hell and you're going to watch people bomb, it's going to be terrible. But then you'll see professionals that night and they'll go up. So the first night I ever went to see comedy, I got to see people that were awful. And then I got to see like a couple of like real world-class comics would go on stage and kill for 10, 15 minutes. I was like, wow, just the contrast and the difference. So you got to see the levels of it. It's like getting to see someone who's taking their first jiu-jitsu class versus a world champion black belt. And you're like, what a journey that is. And to see, the way I describe it to people, I say stand-up comedy is like you're making a mountain one layer of paint at a time. That's what it's like when you're starting. It's like you go there, and if you see Seinfeld, they're like, oh my God, that's a mountain. It's already there. I mean, you realize like this is one layer of paint at a time. 13 sets a night, hopping around, Catch a Rising Star and the Cellar and going to all these clubs in New York, and then puts it together and then takes it to Boston or takes it to Cleveland or takes it to all these places. Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah, so I stole that move of going on stage afterwards and taking suggestions from the crowd.
Great idea.
Well, it was genius. And it's just a smart thing to do his whole set and then fuck around. Yeah.